What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Stardust here. Welcome to a Marvel Avengers video, and today I'm going to be going over my Iron Man build. Now, this build is quite a good one. It basically allows me to get my missiles up as much as humanly possible, whilst also providing lots of damage. I'm going to give a little example right now. We're going to go up to all these robots right here and basically blow them up like they're yesterday's curry. So you'll notice I get a lot of intrinsic bursts here due to how many enemies are in this area. They're all clustered up. I'll explain how I do that shortly. I know a lot of people do the barrier, which is absolutely like 100%. You know, I totally see it. It's a good thing to do. I'll do this. I'm doing this live, by the way. So you know, if I mess up and it doesn't look good, see, now I get that damage buff. A lot of boosts in my favour. Go after these people. Don't appreciate that pole getting in my way. There you go. That poor guy went all the way over there. He stood no chance. He stood absolutely no chance. So I want these dudes to be safe. First, I also want to allow you guys to see that this isn't a flash in the pan style sort of build, and that like it is, you know, it's very good, and that it's definitely, you know, survivable. You know, not necessarily high in resolve, but definitely strong in damage. So I've done that. So if you like the look of that, let me show you how I have done that. So in the skills, we'll look in the skills really quick. So here I've got increased duration of the overcharge state by 3 seconds when activated by Arc Overload. This literally just gives me more seconds with increased damage and just more supercharge, you know. This one is specific for the Omega level threats because obviously, you know, it's quite a difficult mission, so your teammates are going to go down relatively often. So this allows me to instantly pick up my teammates. This is increased the maximum unit beam duration by 3 seconds, allowing for greater damage output. These sort of little bits and bobs don't necessarily matter. However, it is really good for a gear piece that I'll be showing very soon. Enemies defeated by Unibeam will drop heroic orbs. Again, it's always nice to get as much heroics up as humanly possible. When using Hulkbuster, press R1 to unleash a torrential beam of energy drawn directly from the central RT node. None of these really matter too much, to be honest. I wouldn't look too deep into Hulkbuster personally. The masteries are boost critical attack damage done while air juggling opponents by 15%. Now, the missiles shoot enemies up in the air relatively often. So what this allows me to do is it allows me to get more critical damage when they're up in the air from my missiles. Performing a takedown, forcing an enemy to drop an heroic orb. I'm pretty sure this is pretty much standard now for every single build you're going to see in the game, unless you're running sort of like a health build or something like that. Increases all ranged attack damage by 15%. That's pretty self-explanatory here. Of course, you want to go for every single rocket you possibly can, because missiles are without a doubt the best Iron Man weapon in the game. Increases the maximum amount of intrinsic supercharge energy by 15%. Increases duration of the overcharge state by 2 seconds. Increases damage for all attacks while overcharged. Obviously, this, you know, with my intrinsic being up relatively often and me constantly being overcharged, the good old bit of damage boost is incredibly helpful. Then we've got add shock damage to the energy pulse ability, not necessarily helpful. Heroes near the energy barrier gain a 15% critical chance increase on all attacks. Obviously that's helpful, you know, for getting up certain things, which I'll show you in the gear in a moment, but this is very good. Then, of course, for the last one, we've got increases the damage of ranged attacks while flying by 15%. I do believe this is when you're in full flight, not just hovering in the air, so make sure to remember that. Then let's look into the gear. So the first piece we have here, we have Intensity, Resolve, and Valor. 14.1% chance melee critical hits granting a vulnerability buff is pretty useless. 17.5% increased status damage from heavy attacks is relatively decent when you're overcharged, because obviously you can blast out heavy attacks, which is obviously obviously, pretty cool for the missiles because you shock everyone with the support and you blast them with heavy attacks. 15% increased damage from all weapons. So think about that 12.5% overcharge damage you saw. Mix in with the damage buff that you're going to be seeing in the next piece I'm going to show you, and it's an incredibly decent piece. I also have this one, increases fire rate, because obviously when you're overcharged you want to be blasting people non-stop, and I do believe that the aimed attack is a lot stronger than the heavy attack. And then we've got this one as well, which I know seems like it would be like the most ideal one, but believe it or not, it never feels like it does that much damage. Now on to the second piece, targeted buff repulsor. Now ideally the best sort of Iron Man related piece you can probably get. This one gives you a targeted buff, 38.3% chance hitting an enemy with a ranged critical attack, my apologies, grants a damage buff. Missile attacks deal particle damage, and 18.8% chance defeating enemies in their weak point, guaranteeing an invulnerability buff. So every so often I'll also get an invulnerability buff as well as buff up that damage. Now, high precision, high intensity. Of course, intensity is used for status damage. That's very helpful too. And obviously high precision, that's exactly what we need to, produce as much damage as possible with our ranged attacks. But we've also got this as well, hive mind repulsors. This is really quality as well. 69 precision, haha. 64 intensity, and obviously we've got a lot of plasma status there. Now we've got this piece as well. This piece is incredibly important when you're in tachyon, rifts, and omega level threats. Anything with a modifier that takes your damage over time. So reactive empowerment, 21.8% chance taking damage, grants an intrinsic burst with high resolve and high precision. Now what this allows me to do is it allows me to literally stand in a tachyon rift mission or stand in an omega level threat and not die, right? Not die, but not without doing much still be able to get an overcharge, which I mean obviously it helps me not die because I've got the resolve there, right? But it allows me to get that intrinsic burst up constantly to the point where I get overcharged without doing hardly anything, and that allows me to obviously shoot infinitely. I also have this reactive Jarvis barrier, which essentially means that I'll be able to get Jarvis barrier in tachyon rift missions and omega level threats, or at least the first one, as much as I want. But obviously with Jarvis barrier at the moment being a little bit wonky, I didn't want to rely too heavily on that, as it obviously takes down a lot of my resolve. Now this final piece is also incredibly important. As you noticed, I mentioned as well when I defeated 3 robots that I was getting intrinsic burst sort of relatively often. This is why. So precision 63, valor 59, 34.7% chance defeating enemies, grants an intrinsic burst. Obviously very helpful when you've got damage buff and you're obviously killing enemies quite a lot. And damage 3 enemies in rapid succession to grant an intrinsic burst as well. So obviously when you see those flying bots, 1 missile to them normally kills 3. That's incredibly helpful to be able to take them down. Now I did look at this piece here, this really good Omega reactor core. I would love to do a build using the Omega level gear and be able to use cosmic missiles for this piece. So if you want to see that video, please let me know down in the description. I obviously use the Sacred Nornstone of Lethal Will, and I've got the 3 stacks of precision on top of that as well. Nice and easy. So if you all enjoyed this Iron Man build, let me just show you the statistics here. So obviously 397, 108, 111, 119. Now I know that when you get to the point of 110, it's basically like pointless to go any higher than that. That wasn't my choice. I would love to stack more into either valor or resolve, but honestly with Iron Man, if you go to resolve, he's a bit weak. If you stack loads into damage, he's quite of a paperweight, right? He goes down pretty easily. It's very difficult to get the perfect medium for Iron Man, so in my opinion it's best to just blast missiles on repeat and just be there for your teammates as much as humanly possible. So that's it for the build today. Please let me know if you enjoyed this down in the description down below. Obviously I'm using high contrast mode for everyone else. Just a little quick update as well about the streaming. I have a network adapter coming tomorrow. I've had Hyruler helping me all night with the settings, so ideally tomorrow I should be able to live stream, but I will keep everyone updated on my Twitter. So thank you all for being patient, and thank you all for the support. And yeah, I will see you all later. Peace.